All right, team, settle in, welcome aboard. Before we even think about pushing back, we're going to run through a different kind of briefing. No, this isn't about the weather or the flight plan. This is about how we talk to each other, especially when it really, really matters. So I need your full attention. Listen up.
You see, from the second these doors close until they open up at the gate, there's a constant conversation going on between us on the flight deck and you in the cabin. It's a language made of chimes and commands and code words, and every single bit of it is designed for one thing: safety. By the time we're done here, you'll be fluent.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Why all the codes? Why don't we just, talk? Well, because when you're 7 miles up, there is absolutely zero room for misunderstanding. Every single word we use has been standardized for a very good reason: to kill any confusion and make sure that no matter who you're flying with or where you are in the world, the message comes through crystal clear.
Now I want you to burn this term into your brain: procedural drift. It's one of the quietest, but biggest threats to our safety. It's what happens when we start taking little shortcuts, and those shortcuts become habit. A missed call out here, a skipped checklist item there. It seems harmless, right? Wrong. Our standardized language is the firewall against that. It's our anchor, holding us to the correct procedure, every single time. No exceptions.
Everything we do, and I mean everything, is governed by this: our Standard Operating Procedures, or SOPs. This is our playbook. It covers it all, from how to brew a pot of coffee to exactly what to do in an engine fire. Knowing this book isn't a suggestion, folks. It's a non-negotiable part of the job. It is the foundation of every single safe flight.
All right, let's shift our focus to the cabin. We're going to start with the routine calls and sounds you'll hear on every single flight. I want you to think of it as the rhythm of our workspace, where every single beat, every sound has a very precise meaning.
So just before takeoff, you're going to hear one of us from the flight deck say, "Cabin crew, arm doors and cross-check." This is one of the most critical commands you'll ever get. When you arm that door, you're setting the mechanism that will automatically deploy the emergency slide if that door gets opened. The cross-check part, that's your confirmation. You physically look at the door across the aisle to make sure your colleague has done theirs. We never, ever assume.
This airplane speaks to us in chimes, and you need to know exactly what it's saying. That single chime? Simple. It's a passenger call bell. The high-low chime? That's just one of us calling another on the interphone. But the one that should get your immediate attention is that triple low chime. That is a priority call from us up front. It's your signal to drop what you're doing and secure the cabin. Right now.
Okay, now we're going to talk about when things aren't so routine. The language we use becomes even more precise when the stakes get higher. It is absolutely critical that you understand the difference between an urgent situation and a life-threatening emergency, because the words we choose will dictate the entire response, both in the air and on the ground.
Listen to me very closely on this. Pan, 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 that declares urgency. It means we have a serious problem, but it's not an immediate threat to life. Mayday, on the other hand, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday is the highest priority call you can ever make or hear. It means grave and imminent danger. A Mayday call commands total radio silence from every other aircraft. Lives literally depend on that channel being clear.
And if you need a way to remember the difference, just think about where the words come from. Mayday is from the French phrase m'aider, which means help me. It's a direct plea for your life. Pan pan comes from the French word pan, which just means breakdown. So think of it that way. It's a breakdown versus mortal danger. That distinction is everything.
But what if you can't talk? What if this situation is so sensitive, or maybe the radio is just out, that you can't make a voice call? Well, we have a silent way to shout for help. It's a way that speaks directly to every single air traffic controller on the ground, instantly.
Every single aircraft out there is squawking a 4-digit code. The easiest way to think of it is like our own unique signature on a radar screen. Air traffic control gives us a code, we punch it into our transponder, and that's how they track us. But there are 3 universal codes we can enter ourselves. And these codes, they need no translation.
I need you to commit these to memory. 7500 means unlawful interference, a hijacking. You set it discreetly to tell the world what's happening without alerting the threat inside. 7600 means we've lost communications. And 7700, that's the silent Mayday. The second a controller sees any of these codes pop up on their screen, an emergency response is already being launched on the ground.
And finally, let's talk about what happens inside this cabin. Our communication in here has 2 jobs. First, to solve the problem, and second, to maintain calm.
You have to remember that panic is contagious, and it is a threat to safety all on its own. So we use another layer of coded language to manage crises with absolute discretion.
This right here is our mantra: discretion, not alarm. It doesn't matter what's happening, a medical issue, a disruptive passenger, anything. Our communication with each other must be calm, quiet, and coded. The passengers in this cabin are going to take their cues directly from you. If you are calm, they will be calm. You are the one who sets the tone.
So if a passenger is just feeling a bit nauseous, you might hear a call for a code yellow. It's just a signal to keep an eye on them without making a big scene. Now, if the situation is more serious, maybe a medical problem or a technical fault that needs our attention but isn't a Mayday, we might use the term Peter Pan. That tells the whole crew that, hey, we have an issue to manage, but the aircraft itself is not in any immediate danger.
This is the hardest situation any of us will ever face. If a passenger passes away during a flight, we use the term angel, or code 300. It allows us to communicate the reality of the situation with professionalism and compassion, all while protecting the dignity of that person and preventing any panic among the other passengers. It's a necessary code for a truly terrible event.
So, what I want you to walk away from this briefing with is one key understanding. We don't use these codes to be secretive. That's not the point. We use them because they are the most precise, the most efficient, and ultimately the safest way to communicate. Every word, every chime, it's a tool that helps us keep everyone on this aircraft safe.
So you have the vocabulary now. From this moment on, when you're on a flight, you're not just a passenger anymore, you're an informed observer. You understand the rhythm, and you understand the warnings. So the only question left is, now that you know the language, will you ever hear a flight the same way again? Briefing's over.